Yes. All right.
All right.
Well, it's meeting of Lunenburg Water Commission, July 27th, 2022. This meeting's being recorded for rebroadcast over Lunenburg Public Access. So we can review and sign the warrants. There's one for you.
Maybe that wasn't Dave.
I'm sorry, Dave
No,
Rogers.
Yeah.
so,
I didn't want that back.
Oh, he's out here?
Yeah, he's out back.
Oh, he is here then.
do we have two insurance companies for the life?
Yes, because there was old plans from a long time ago. MetLife was what we used to have. And then we have Nationwide, Western Mutual, Northwestern Mutual. And that pays everybody's, but instead of Fran getting the full coverage like we approved through Northwestern Mutual, he kept some of the old plans and made that dollar-wise work.
It would have cost a lot more to switch it all. So
To switch.
Yeah, so we kept half in the old plans of MetLife that just cover his plans.
And then he got a
And then the
plan for
balance of
the
it.
difference.
For the difference through Northwestern Mutual. And that's what Terry and I have too.
Okay. And everybody's eligible for that
After a year.
after a year. Okay. Okay, I bet it's for you.
Who figures my ex-wife?
All right.
She never.
Hey, you're on camera, John. Don't talk that
I forgot.
That one. Circulating the minutes of June 22nd, 2022. Can we work on maybe getting some music in the downtime?
I know.
Some background,
Like hold music?
some filler music, you know?
Yeah. I'm all nostalgic. I call my brother's store and he puts me on hold, and
has
he's got the music from the carousel at Whalen Park.
Does he really?
Yeah.
I'll have to give him a call. He's like, oh, just put me on hold.
Well, it happens to me so often. I don't know how
Just
that. I don't know how.
immediately
It's wearing on me.
It's like zone.
I'm like, dude, you got to change it.
Yeah. he picks up. I don't even know why I called him.
And that's why he just puts you on hold, because he knows you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That whole caller ID thing. That's a horrible thing.
You just have to answer the phone. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is good.
Yeah. It was always a surprise.
Yeah. Now it's like, oh God, Dad.
Now I know it's Mr. Rogers calling, so I don't pick up.
It's gonna be an hour. Do I have an hour? Do I have an hour?
No, it's typically only like 30 minutes. So not bad.
Good day.
There it is. Mr. Beechin.
All right.
How are you, John? Haven't seen you in ages.
Oh, it's been that long?
Yeah. My how time flies when you're having fun. Hi, Woody.
How you doing, Dad?
All right.
Okay, you want a motion for this?
Sure.
All right, I make a motion that we accept the minutes of June 22nd.
Okay. All those any discussion? All those in favor?
I second. So
Aye.
moved.
Oh yeah, you're seconded. Yeah. See, we're getting there.
Yeah, you got it. Sorry,
A couple of years. I'll have
And
this.
then we have
that took me 20 years.
so we're to our third item on the agenda. discussion with Hickory Hills Lake Association regarding Hickory Hills well, and who is here representing the lake tonight?
Paula's supposed to be here. Is that her just walked in?
I didn't see anybody
I think it was when
walk
Jeff
in.
walked in.
We can.
Do you wanna do a couple
We
of
can
them?
skip
Yeah,
over.
I know she's coming. She
Okay.
wants to be here.
All right, so, we'll put that on hold for right now and go to the review and approve tank inspection agreement.
Okay, so, every few years we go and inspect the tanks internal. Last year we did, internal inspection of the Sunny Hill Road tank, and we did a cleaning where they go in and vacuum out the sediment that settles to the bottom. This year I wanna do the Chase Road tank. Main priority on that one is the coating painting system is at the end of life. So we're inspecting that more frequently, typically do every 5 years for a full-blown inspection internal with the diver and stuff. So this one I want to do it again, and the price we got from Underwater Solutions, who did the work in the past. We've had several people do it, and these guys are the best price this time. So the price was $32.90. I just request permission to let them sign the agreement and let them do their thing.
When they go in, other than the fact the guy comes out and says, everything's great.
Yeah.
Do they, they do video and stuff?
Oh,
or-
they do all kinds, yeah, video, and they do tank thickness measurements, painting, coating
Oh, okay.
measurements.
So they give you some data
All
on
the
it.
full
Yeah,
data.
it's not just a guy going in and just,
Yeah, so,
yeah,
so,
all good.
yeah, he goes to the top, he's a diver.
Yeah.
You know, they chlorinate him, spray him down, then he goes down with the cameras and does all full-blown inspections of any kind of failed wells. He does how much sediment's on the bottom. And then they also do a full outside inspection as well. So this is gonna give us an idea of timing for the paint job. So every time we go in for the inspection, thinking we're gonna be doing a paint job, they all say the tank's in good shape, hold off. I mean, the outside definitely needs to be painted. The inside is the very expensive part. So we could always do it as a two-part process, do the outside and then do the inside separately. But everybody I talk to, they always feel it's financially beneficial to wait one mobilization.
Cost
Do everything at
effective to
once.
do it all at once, yep. Great,
So I just need your approval to,
okay.
I make a
Aye.
motion
Oh, great.
to approve the
3,200.
3,200 to.
$32.90.
$32.90 to get the tank
Yeah.
inspected.
That comes out of the maintenance budget, I believe, anyway,
Yes,
so,
maintenance budget.
great.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we'll get that done. We can go back, where Miss Bertram's here. Is everybody here that's gonna be representing the lake? Why don't we get going on that then? We'll go to discussion with Hickory Hills Lake Association regarding Hickory Hills
Yeah,
well.
you can pull this.
So you wanna take off or you want me to?
You-
Why I wanna do this. Okay, so, but the purpose of this is, you know, we gotta schedule and plan things, so, I talked to Ty and Bond, who's gonna do the proposal for the, pilot study. They anticipate the proposal to be ready for the last commissioners meeting in August, so 24th or sooner, they intend to have the proposal, available. So we're just trying to, the purpose of this, our goal is to call a special meeting, and we just want to set timing up, you know,
A timeline.
a timeline,
That-
right, so it.
Whether we follow or meet it, at least we have
But
an
a guide,
idea.
just a guidance thing, so,
Yep.
you know, we can set up what, you know, we'd like to do this, and this, and if Hickory Hills, board would like to do this and this, we mutually agree on, hey, let's shoot for a timeframe, like November,
So you said August 22nd?
4th, I think it was the 4th.
Well, our meeting's the 24th, but you said
Yeah.
they'd have a,
Yeah, we have it
For
the
that.
24th or prior.
right. And I assume the goal is to have them come in and give us a presentation of their proposal and.
Correct.
Correct.
So, yep, so that'd be,
So I think they have a good understanding of all of our discussions and what they're trying, what they have for to accomplish. If you have any questions, I'd kind of like them to have a heads up. If you have any questions that you feel need to be answered prior to that proposal coming in, if you have a chance to maybe submit some of those to us, so that we can give them to the engineer. Something that you might know are gonna ask when they come in, let's give them the question in advance so that they can answer these questions, so we're, it's,
Well,
we get as much of the legwork done as possible.
what I think is if they have a chance, they have to have them in by then, not a chance, so we can give them to the engineer.
Well, I would like to have them in as soon as
Yeah.
possible if there's certain questions. I think we answered a ton of questions, and I think we've really worked together to get an idea of what we expect out of this study, so.
So when this study comes in, I know they've already discussed with concerns of the lake levels and stuff like that, so I would imagine that's all fully gonna be in the proposal.
Yeah,
But so when the proposal comes in, it needs to be submitted to DEP for approval. So before it goes to any of that, it'll go to you guys, so you could say, well, I don't like this, so we wanna change it to this. So,
right, but I'd like
fully cooperate,
to,
but
they're gonna come through and tell us exactly what they wanna do. If there's something you don't agree with, or we have a question about that we don't know, I would probably say that we'd be able to have questions to them afterwards.
After the 24th, you're saying?
Or no, I want anything prior to
No, I know
that you
that,
know.
but
if something
Fran says after we-
after
right,
they
right.
come in and, I asked Fran to have them come in and do some sort of a presentation to line out what the whole thing's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll have a chance to either ask or submit questions again at that
Okay,
point.
yeah, that's what I'm, yeah,
Cause
yeah, okay.
I don't want anything to be lost in conversation. I want them to be able to take their presentation and answer any potential questions that they have, so it's as complete as it possibly can be. So that we're not working on this thing for a long time, because we've already, I think, are losing ground on available funding that we can't apply for until we get the study done.
So on the 24th, or 22nd, whatever the day was, or on the 24th for your meeting, I assume that's when your meeting date is?
Yes.
That's how I understood it, okay. Are they coming in on that day to do
That would be
the presentation or
our
something?
intention.
As of,
Okay.
as of today, let's just say yes.
That's what
Unless
you're trying to,
something
that's what
changes.
you're trying to do?
Right.
What we're
Okay.
trying to do is
And
on the
then
24th.
we're trying to get as much of the information done, so there's not a lot of work or questions to answer after that. So then we can turn and consider a timeframe,
Yep,
which I would say within 2 meetings, we would like to try to have an annual meeting and try to get the
special meeting.
special
Yes, a
meeting
special meeting.
to try to get the funding for the study. I think that seems like a decent enough, I mean, we're talking 2 meetings from now till they present. And then at least a meeting and/or 2 after and have a special meeting. I think we can answer all the questions by then. So.
I think that's kinda tight, but.
I think it is too, but I believe,
But we've
we're
been-
under the gun. We really
We've already
need to
missed
act on this.
anything that we could submit for funding that would happen this fall.
Right, August 12th. was
So,
the-
right, so I don't wanna miss that again, so, yeah, I'd like to set an aggressive, I think we've worked together pretty diligently back and forth, that we should be able to come up with something that everybody can agree on for the study. Again, it's still a study, it's not anything after that. So, and then after that is based on what we get out of the study. So, that's kind of where I'm at with that. I don't know if you have any concerns regarding that? Setting a timeline of that nature or anything, but I can't see why in 2 months we can't answer anything that's gonna be crucial.
So we will definitely get you the list of concerns if the well goes back online, the things we'd like included in the study, and we'll get that to you as soon as we can.
Yeah.
So that he can address it before the meeting on the 24th. I think you guys know what they are, so
Yeah.
I'm sure
And
you're
that-
probably
yeah.
aware, but we'll just put it in writing so you have it. I will tell you that we're still concerned about the Zone 1 and the potential impacts. And so we have sent that letter off to DEP that I copied you guys on, and I've left several messages, but
What were
Don't
the
get it.
impacts?
yeah, I
thought-
had sent a letter on June 9th
Yeah.
that outlined our concerns and if the validity of the Zone 1.
Right, that was the only, you say impacts, I thought that was the main concern that you had. Is there another
Well,
impact?
no, I mean, the impact if the well goes online, what we had initially talked about way back when was if the well goes back online, will it affect the lake level?
Right.
I mean, that was our biggest issue. So we had that concern, but then subsequent to that, the concern about the potential impacts to uses on Hickory Hills came up after town meeting. So we are still concerned about that. I just want to put that on the table, that we remain concerned about if this well goes back online, is there an impact to recreational uses on Hickory Hills? So we still remain concerned about that. I just want to put that on the
Yeah,
table.
That's fine, I understand the concerns, I was down there fishing last night, and I looked at the Zone 1, what I considered to be the Zone 1, and the amount of activity that is going on that DEP would not want to see go on within a Zone 1. I think we've shown that we're very accommodating and user-friendly with the people within with what their uses are within the Zone 1, as long as, and I don't think I've seen any impact that's gonna affect our use of the Zone 1.
That's what we want to be concerned, that's what we want
Yeah.
to ensure. And the other thing is, as you know, we do chemical treatments on the lake. We want to make sure we can continue to do that.
Yep.
So we want to make sure that we're protected in protecting the lake.
Yep, so those things definitely, I'm sure we've talked about them, but those should be part of the questions for the engineer, because that's what will come out in the study. That's why we need the study.
Okay,
So
so include all those concerns in the letter we sent you.
Yeah, anything that we,
Okay.
unless the
That's a
engineer
good
already
point.
has all of
Add
these
all
that we
that
know of.
Add all
Yeah.
that stuff in addition to.
Right, so-
Put all
Yeah.
together everything. Okay.
They need to know, because those are the things we are looking at as part of the study. We agreed to study the lake levels, we agreed to look into the Zone 1, I think we're kind of there, but I'm sure we'll get clarification on that.
And I think the Zone 1, we are with this group, but
Oh,
this
no.
group doesn't remain forever, right?
I know.
And the restrictions will always change, and they will only get tighter. They're not going to get any looser.
I
And so
agree, but
over time, that's our concern.
where we're at, this group, and historically, the group has been understanding about uses within the Zone 1. We can't change, nor can the future group change any mandates that come from DEP.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
we're not controlling any of that. A lot of the things that we do, that people say, you did this. No, we did not. We were mandated by
Well,
DEP. to
And that's our
Right.
concern. That's
Yeah, yeah.
exactly our concern.
But we still can't control that, nor can a future group. The only
Right.
thing that can control that is DEP, which we have no control over.
Right, but this goes back to doing the study. If the intent is to put the well online, and it is going to impact the well, the lake,
Yep.
then we don't want the well to go back online.
So this is the
bottom
thing.
line.
You're right,
That is an approved source. That
Right.
is an approved Zone 1.
right,
The well online or not online doesn't
Doesn't-
affect anything.
right.
I mean, that is a zone.
Whatever we're doing here
So,
does not affect the
Whether that
Zone
well's on or
1.
not, and if that well, if it got dry enough and it became where we need to turn that well on, that well's going on next week. So none of that matters. I mean, that's an active, viable well site. For example, Townsend, they way back in the day, they never had that 400-foot radius. So Townsend has a well site that doesn't have the 400-foot radius. That doesn't mean they lost the well site. They just have a not adequate 400-foot radius. They don't have the radius needed. So things can happen where that things might not be the perfect Zone 1, but that doesn't mean you lost the well site. So as far as I'm concerned, we're not gonna lose that well site, no matter what. That well site's there. If an emergency comes up, that well site's going online. We're just sending out letters health advisories for manganese. That's all. I mean,
And PFAS.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Not always, because the last PFAS passed.
okay.
Oh, did
So-
it? Yeah, good.
Right. So, and that same thing, like we don't know enough about the PFAS, how long it is gonna be an issue in the well, or in water supplies. Some water supplies have such high levels of them that, it's something that people are concerned about right now.
Right.
I would think you'd
But
want-
our intention is to work together, not to, not to try to do anything that is detrimental to either what your uses are and/or our uses are.
No,
That-
we
yeah.
absolutely understand that, but our concern is this board is going to change at some point, and mandates are gonna come forward, and we wanna understand what those impacts are.
And your board is gonna
And-
change also.
I'm sorry?
Your board is gonna
Your-
change
your-
also.
Yeah, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait either.
It makes me, I'm glad to hear that about Townsend, that they just have a non-compliant zone one, and ideally, that would be the best thing for us.
Right.
Is to change that zone one and put it back on the land, which is what we originally thought it was, then we have no issues.
I don't think we're gonna do
Well,
that.
we don't own,
We can't do that.
yeah, I don't think we,
Yeah.
no,
Well,
the zone ones are developed and approved by the town, correct?
But-
Or were developed by the engineer, but they have to be approved by the,
By Mass DEP and through town, so.
Right.
Well, this is our issue, and we have consulted with our attorney, and he shares our concerns, in that the zone one, by the water district regulations, you have to own or control the zone one.
Right.
You do not.
well, nobody controls the water.
So we disagree with that, and we have a legal opinion that we do own the water, and I sent that to you.
So you legal,
So
so there,
our deed says they are conveying the waters and the land under the waters of Hickory Hills Lake. That is how our deed reads, and I sent you a copy of the deed. So that is
Right.
absolutely
and
our concern.
our zone one says that we have to own and/or control, and I believe that is the case where it's an approved zone one.
But you don't own or control the
Doesn't say we don't
property. If you had an easement, that would be control.
And I got a question for you. What makes you think you own the water? Because your attorney told you so?
Because the deed says that, John.
Yeah, the deed says that you own the water.
It does.
All right, well, I got a little story for you. I know some people that were fishing down at Hickory Hills on their own property. All right? The game warden approached them, asked them for a fishing license. They didn't have one, and they said they didn't have one because they lived right there.
And it's a
And the
privately
game
owned
warden
lake.
told them, that's not true.
That's absolutely not true.
The state owns every drop of water. They own the dam, they run the dam.
That
they
is
tell you-
absolutely
They tell you what to do.
incorrect.
Well,
That is
they tell you what to do with the
absolutely
water
incorrect.
level at the dam. And the other question I have is, what is the amount of allowable water over that dam to keep the fish and the vegetation?
Our dam is we are under regulation by the Office of Dam
That's
Safety.
not the question I asked.
That's what I'm
Excuse me,
saying.
can I respond, please?
Well, just give
We
me
are
the amount of water.
We are under control of the Office of Dam Safety.
Yeah?
We control the water level via the boards and the siphons. And we have an order of conditions from the Conservation Commission that allows us to affect the water level. So
So
can
you-
I quantify exactly how much water is
So
going
you
over
can,
the dam?
well, you're supposed to know to keep the vegetation and the fish.
Well, that's-
That is
called stream
incorrect.
flow.
That is
Stream flow.
There is
So you
There
can
is-
shut
we have
the
to
water
maintain
off
stream
downstream and not have any
No, we
provisions?
have to maintain.
What's the stream flow?
John?
I don't know what it is off the top of my
But
head.
there is-
but
Well, how do you
Well, we
regulate
measure
it if you don't
We
know?
measure it.
Because
So-
their water runs through the dam, around the dam, under the dam, and the water below the dam is all in conservation land, and the water continues to flow down there. So conservation has allowed us to actually put all the boards in the dam, stop the water flowing over the dam, because enough water flows around
Under-
and through and under the dam
Through and
to
through.
keep stream flow on the Mulpus Brook downstream. And so that's what we do.
So there's not a concern
But
about
it's a
stream
good
flow.
concern that you have,
Yeah.
but it's really conservation is ahead of you on that, and
Right.
they keep an eye on that and watch it.
Okay.
Right.
Because
And
that's
it-
their property.
Right.
That
And
is
it's-
downstream from our property.
Okay.
And as far as the game warden, you do have to have a fishing license regardless of whether it's a private lake or not.
That's true.
However, that one individual states that the state of Massachusetts owns the water. We have an attorney that states something else.
Well, I think you need a new
So-
attorney,
So,
because I
well,
think
we
the
have
state
two- We actually
knows.
have two attorneys.
No,
who
that's
said
fine.
that.
So what you're saying is you have a legal, written
And I
opinion
have
from your
forwarded that,
attorney?
and I have forwarded
Okay,
that.
do we have a copy of that?
I sent it to you on June 9th.
Do you need
Oh, was it part of what you sent to
permission
DEP?
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
forward,
yeah,
did we
yeah.
forward what we sent to DEP to KP Law?
No, because,
Did you send something to DEP?
no.
No.
Oh,
You CC'd it to,
Right,
Yeah.
so I would,
Law,
I would
yeah.
forward, I would forward the documentation that she forwarded DEP to KP Law to get their view on it as well.
So,
Because the original.
but then we're, okay, sorry, go ahead.
What, well, it's my,
I was gonna say, as for the like ownership of water, I mean, if we put a well site in, we don't have free access to the water on that, even though we own all the land, the land's deeded to us. We don't have full rights to that water,
Who do you get the rights from?
DEP.
That's right.
So I kinda question that, I don't think most attorneys know that.
right, so
state
the
owns it.
water under that 400-foot radius, no, so, I get what you're saying, the water under that 400-foot radius that feeds that well, nobody owns that. That is controlled by the state.
And again, we would disagree with that. So
Okay,
that
that's fine.
becomes our bone of contention.
That's fine.
That is our issue.
That's fine, so
You from being a Board of Health agent should know that the state owns the water in your driven well at your house.
John,
Did you know that?
John, I disagree with you. So
Well,
let's see-
why do you have
let's
to have
see.
it tested when you get it drilled?
This goes back, because you have to have a potable water supply in order to have a building.
Really? I know
Yes.
that.
So that's why you have to have it tested. It's still your well.
Well, you can drink it if you want to take
No,
the
you
chance.
cannot. You cannot get a building permit or an occupancy
What if you don't
permit.
want a building permit? I'm saying you can drink that water if you drill
You
a
can.
well on your property.
Right.
Right, and you
Right.
don't need,
Dig
you
a hole in
don't
your
need a
backyard,
permit
you
to
can
get
drink
it, you don't have to get it tested.
If your point
So
is invalid. You asked
Well, it's
about
not
the Board of
invalid
Health.
to
If you're
me.
building a home, you have to have a potable water supply in order to occupy that building.
I know that, Paul.
And if you test your well and
Yeah.
it tests high, the lab is obligated to report it to the Board of
That's
Health.
right, they get
And
the
the
test
Board of Health
results.
then takes appropriate measures
Right.
to ensure the safety of an individual.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're getting a little
Can I-
awry.
can-
Well,
Yeah, I
I'm getting
agree.
a little
I
worried
agree.
because,
What I-
because, you know,
No,
what
we're-
we are doing is discussing who owns the water.
Right.
Now, when you have your lake chemically serviced or whatever you do with it, do you get a permit for that?
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
We get
why?
a permit, get a permit from
they
the
have
state.
to,
and-
through.
Just because you own something, John, doesn't mean you can do anything you want with it.
Don't we all know that?
So we have
There
to
you go.
follow regulations.
Well, look, to get back on track here.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all
Well,
great
you get a permit
conversations.
from the state, right?
However,
The chemically-
hold on, John, just give me 1 second. Obviously, it seems like
Time's up.
yeah, you taking the conch. It sounds like the point of contention that the abrasiveness you have with this is this zone 1. Is this correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have the legal and right answers to that. Obviously, we have a disagreement of
Yep.
the exact on that. However, we still have a problem in Lunenburg of we need to turn this well on, and we keep getting the pushback from it. I understand your concerns, but besides the zone 1 thing, is there anything else? And these are the things we want to bring up to tie and bond and everything. Tie and bond is not going to help us one iota with the zone 1.
Well, I thought I just heard that they may.
They might be able
The
to.
DEP are, maybe they.
And DEP may?
I believe the DEP
I'm hoping that within
would have the final say.
within a 2-month time span, we can get some of these.
But obviously, you see where we're coming from. We have a timeline, we have a deadline, we have a responsibility to our water customers, as things may change, to be as efficient as possible. And I feel like
Completely agree.
we've been bogged down on this, and I have legitimate concerns, but I really would like to square up them and push on.
So would we, and at our last meeting, we recommended that we sit down with DEP and/or tie and bond, and we got pushback on that. We agree with you that we understand your position, but you need
Right.
to understand ours.
And I do.
We have over 500 homes that we need to represent.
Okay, but,
Right.
And hold on.
Go ahead. And some of them are within this zone 1.
okay.
And if the uses change, as was proposed at the last meeting, as far as grandfathering, our attorney disagrees with Adam Bernie that we would be grandfathered. And so we have put together a letter to DEP that outlines our concerns, outlines questions the validity of the Zone 1
Okay.
as approved, and we have sent that to you. So hopefully you've all read it, because it goes into great detail about what our concerns are. So those aren't going to go away until we get those answers. And we are hoping that we get those answers.
Okay.
Because our charge is to protect our residents and to protect our lake.
Understood, and we all live here too. We would like
Yeah.
to, do this also, okay? All right, hopefully we can get some guidance from DEP, but, and hopefully we can get it.
They're not gonna help us, because that's not.
I don't think the DEP,
They're not gonna do
but
anything.
hopefully time bond is, but we need to,
Yeah.
but like Fran says, the Zone 1 is there indefinitely. It's never going away, forever and ever. Yeah,
Well, again, I mean, if you read the correspondence I've sent, our issue is that the state drinking water regulations state you have to own or control the Zone 1. You're saying you control it because it was approved by DEP. We're saying that you don't control it because it wasn't taken. It's not under the court control or jurisdiction of the water district. So that's our issue.
Okay. If that question does not come to an answer that we all agree on, are you guys simply gonna squash anything we try to do with this well?
Yes.
All right, well,
No matter what we do.
hold on. See,
This isn't
Paul,
gonna happen.
This is where it gets a little frustrating. I know you're a
Right.
very committed town member, and I mean, I appreciate you've done a lot for this town. But at some point, I truly hope that you guys look a little bit beyond of just Hickory Hills and the community that we're in here.
So
We are part of this community. We have always been part of this community,
But
right? I mean, we have wells in town already,
Yep.
right? They are perfectly functional. They don't run at 100%. None of them run at 100%. I understand you have money invested in this particular well, but you have money invested in all these other wells, and they all run, and we're running at what, 40, 50% of the water that's coming out of all these other wells? What more water do we need as a town?
You don't
Where
know
does
what
it
you
need to come
need,
from?
you don't know what you need till you
It's
need it.
not-
And that's
you know
our due
what?
diligence to,
Yeah.
it's not, honestly, it's not the water flow. Keating's well is amazing. My
Yeah, I
goodness,
know
I
that.
wish I had one, you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
It's awesome.
Right.
However,
So
when the
is
state.
our real goal to try and sell water somewhere
No,
else? Or
the
is that
real,
what we're
the real
trying to
goal, I'm
do
gonna
here?
tell you right now, is more of a tactical approach to things here.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that the state is going to start cranking down on some of their regulations and the allowable limits that we have in. When that happens, and it's gonna, they are going to say, hey, the PFAS level needs to go down to X number, I don't know what it is.
Yep.
When that happens, every town in Massachusetts and city that has a problem with PFAS is going to be running to the table to try to get some of that money. It's gonna happen.
already
It's already happening.
It's already
It's
happening.
already
Yes.
happening.
So I view Hickory Hills well as something that needs to get treated now, so we can get possibly free money to take care of it. And then when this regulation comes down, now we'll need to focus on the other two well sites we have on town, but we still have a viable well at that point. That's what I would like to see happen.
And
I understand that.
But I can't-
But our issue is, you just talked about DEP cranking down on regulations.
Yep.
When we went to town meeting, had that regulation passed, as it was proposed, to eliminate fishing and
Mm-hmm.
boating within the Zone 1, that would have been,
the
had a
regulation that you
huge-
all approved,
would have had a
right?
huge impact on our lake.
I-
And it is not grandfathered. DEP can come in and
Well,
say
I
it's
agree,
not
and that's why
grandfathered.
when those regulations come out, that's why it goes to a town meeting, so you can be like, no, and I don't blame you one iota.
So it's hard to come here and say, you guys are real concerned about us. When you have passed and sent to the town an approval of wording that would basically eliminate
All right,
portions
this
of our
is-
lake
This
to
is
be
maybe what you don't
used.
understand. We don't write that. That is given to us, and they're like, this is what is put forward.
Did you approve it?
We have to.
Okay.
this is,
Then
this
it
is
was
what
approved here.
we were told
Okay,
by,
but that's
we were told by DEP.
This is-
to do this.
Right.
Bring this to
Exactly.
the.
Exactly.
But that's
you
why
should be
we'll-
as concerned as we are.
And that's
'cause
why
you were
we-
told by DEP this is what you needed to do.
We
so
sat
what you
down-
were told by DEP is you need to eliminate a portion of our lake so that we could no
And that's
longer
why
use it.
You and I sat here and said this, and we
That's
were like,
why-
I'm like, we all agreed, this is ridiculous, and the way to stop it is to go to town meeting. We can't stop it. And we're not trying to pull a fast or anything.
And
It's
we're
just-
trying to stop it if that's what it's gonna take to if this is what's gonna keep coming down from DEP, because just as you said, the restrictions are gonna get tighter and tighter and tighter.
Well, they're
And so
gonna
at some point in time, they are going to say, you can't just scrap boating and fishing and swimming or whatever else in this zone 1 area.
Well, they probably
It
are
has to be.
someday.
All right,
They
here's,
are
let me
someday,
predict the future of what I see also
Yeah.
happening. If for some reason these PFAS levels drop or we get new regulations, we get crunched down where we are very limited on our water use. I mean, very limited. As of right now, the water department really funds itself by, I would say, a lot of the people that water their lawns, et cetera. You have a outside use of your average $120 a month quarter, a quarter bill. We have some customers that use a lot, and we get a lot of money from that. It's
Right.
great. If they start regulating things, all that is gone. All right. Now then it's going to be like, you only can use so much water a day. That means everyone's quarterly bill for the average homeowner goes to $500-600 real fast. All right. And that puts some real financial hardships on, I would say, a pretty important commodity, water. If we can get this Hickory Hills squared up and ready, it's going to alleviate that potential problem, very realistic, for the Lunenburg Water District.
So.
Okay, so when we come to that, I mean, do you want to be the person that says we stop that from
But
happening?
look at it from our financial perspective. If people lose their ability to use their home and use the lake as it has historically been, it will affect their property values. And it will affect the amount of money that we receive. Because why are you going to pay dues or maintenance fees for property you can no longer enjoy?
Paul, I couldn't
So
agree
we
with you
have a
more.
financial interest in protecting our lake.
But what we're trying to do with this well has absolutely nothing to do with that. And you don't see that correlation. And once again, it's like
I don't understand how you cannot see that if this well goes online and DEP.
This well is online.
Hold on a second. If this well goes back into full-time service as a water supply, then, and DEP puts down restrictions that you have to eliminate these uses within a zone 1. How that would affect our citizens and our lake
I
and our
understand,
values.
but you just said it.
But they could do it now.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
And I disagree that they could do
You
it.
say if the well goes back online, the well is a viable source. It is a zone 1. Whether it's turned on or not, it's an active well. There is no deactivating it.
We're not getting anywhere. We can talk about this for days.
So
You're not gonna convince
basically
Hickory Hills
the
of
crux
nothing,
of the whole thing, I think
unfortunately.
we've understood the study. The crux of the whole thing is some sort of definition of the zone 1 and the land under it. I will
Right,
tell you, the
and
way
it-
I see it is, I don't see how anybody owns the water. I can
They don't.
understand the land under
You
the
don't
lake.
own the water.
But
You can poison
the
it if
state-
you want to.
the state, John, let me
You can
finish.
do anything with the water if you want to, if you own it, but you can't. You ought to know
state
that.
regulates the water, the aquifers under the ground that feeds every public water supply. So we're just gonna keep layering this thing down. I understand your attorney's standpoint, so I guess my question to you is, if DEP, our attorney, and let's say, because I believe even talking with the town attorney, he was in full agreement with our attorney's letter that I gave to him, which basically allows us to have that zone 1 and operate that well. If your attorney disagrees with the professional opinions of our attorneys, and if we can get a DEP and/or our engineer's opinion, are you still gonna go with your attorney, or are you gonna believe 3 other
I would like
professionals?
to have a meeting with everybody at the table. That would be ideal.
Who is your
That'd be a
attorney?
great start.
It's
Erickson.
Scott Erickson from Perkins and Antle.
Okay.
Where are they out of?
I don't have his letterhead with me.
I
wanna
don't know if
say-
does it make,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No.
It's Perkins and Antle.
I think we have his opinion. I think that forwarding that to KP, trying to get a little bit of a push if DEP is going to weigh in on this.
I have no interest in talking to DEP.
Yeah.
We have a zone 1, fully viable well site. All we need is a pilot study and treatment plan.
No, DEP's
From
not
where-
gonna,
where-
nothing
how
gonna be
about-
I don't
interested.
think DEP's gonna respond. They already approved those zone 1.
So is
It's
there,
done.
so is there something where
We can
We-
call him a page, send
and
to our
then,
attorney, let them.
and stick him on,
If you want to, I copied the Lunenburg Water District, I have the names of the people that I copied, and if you wanna forward it to your attorney, absolutely.
Yep.
Because this kind of outlines our concerns and our position. I have an official opinion from Jim Van Buren from years ago, and I presented a copy of the well easement, the deeds from Hickory Hills, so all of that was included with this. We have an an opinion from Attorney Van Buren, and we
Yeah.
have a verbal opinion. John and I met with Scott Erickson about this whole issue, and he agrees with our concerns and the opinion of Jim Van Buren. I don't have a written opinion from him. I can certainly get one if you would like one.
yeah,
But I
verbal
have,
opinion
I have an
really
opinion,
doesn't have a
but I have an
weight.
opinion, I have a written opinion from Attorney Van Buren, which I believe I forwarded you, but if I didn't, I'm happy to.
And was our representative at the time.
He was our lawyer at the time where the question came up about whether or not we own the water.
Well, let's move forward with this, by all means. I understand- Again, but
Again.
let's, we got this date of the 24th, come up with your questions, we'll have time bond, we can all sit down at the table with that. Obviously, when he presents, I'm sure you will have, additional questions, but obviously, we're trying to speed this up and get everything, this is the concerns first, if he says something, we're gonna paint the water blue, yeah, okay, whoa, but let's work on that and go for the 24th, and hopefully we get some answers there.
I don't know if you guys have seen this letter, but if you guys could each, I know you have,
I'm gonna
I don't know
read
if
through
you
it.
have, if you guys can just forward them a copy. so that
I
they
may
can-
have.
Yeah, I think I did to
I
you,
think
and
I
I
did.
don't, I think I thought I printed one, but,
I've seen.
Pretty sure we forwarded.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
have seen.
So, but that outlines all of our concerns.
Yeah. Okay.
The main concern is the control of the zone
So
one.
all we need is.
When you
that-
say all concerns, the main concern is who controls the zone one.
So for the 24th, all we need is that paper. There shouldn't be any other
Well, no,
questions.
there are additional concerns. So
Oh,
for
okay.
example, the contaminants, if you treat this, where are the findings gonna
right,
go?
which-
What's
all-
the impact of
that's
the
all
lake?
stuff.
All of
That's all
that,
stuff
right.
that
That
we would
all will
have,
be in
that would be in
yeah.
that would be in the
Absolutely.
study.
Yeah.
That's stuff we would want in the study.
That's all, right, all of that stuff we've.
What does the structure look like, and I'm sure that's all
Yeah,
part of that
Right,
as well.
That's all part of the
so
study.
that's,
Yeah.
that's
It's all
all
be part of
question.
it, right?
That-
So
That's
we
probably
can-
gonna be the most difficult part, the structure part.
Yeah.
But I'm
Well, if it's,
requesting that-
if it's 15 or 20 feet tall side of the building,
We
that's,
wouldn't even
that's,
consider,
that's
that's
just a
not
scary
happening.
I
thought.
see how all that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fred's already considering.
I don't-
We don't know until the study's done.
We don't
Yeah,
have to-
I understand.
We
I
have seen,
understand.
we've seen some
How does-
examples that are like in a container, like a 20-foot container, like, oh, that would
How
be
does,
great.
how does the structure affect the water?
Depends on how it needs to, that's what the pilot study is gonna show us, is the most effective and efficient way to treat and clean this PFAS. And there's a zillion different ways to do it in this.
I
you know,
understand that, but now when we get ready to do this, we're gonna argue over what the structure is gonna look like?
Well, first thing we need to do is, I guess, figure out the volume, the size of this apparatus.
What is the structure?
What is the
What is the
structure?
structure?
And we can't do that without the
What's it
study.
gonna cost?
You can't do it without
The
the study.
reality is this may come back as you need a 50-foot cooling tower, blah, blah, like, no, it's not a viable, cost-effective option.
Right.
We're not doing it. It may come back that way, but it may be like, hey, your levels are, we have this new thing that can be treated and it can do in a room this size. Awesome, okay, and it's cheap, it's $180,000, it's not gonna be, but that'd be fantastic.
Right.
We don't know.
But you don't know.
Right.
And that's why we would like to press forward with this study, and I know you understand why we want to do it, and I understand your pushback, but we do need to, we
Yeah, and
need
we
to.
will send all that information to you. We have no problem putting that stuff together and sending it
If
to
we
you
put that together,
ASAP.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the time bond has that, so they can consider that when they're putting their proposal together.
Yeah.
And that we're hitting all the points that everybody is concerned about.
Yeah.
And then hopefully by then we can clear up this zone one or come up with a solution that is a solution.
Alright, so we're gonna send it to KP,
Yes,
see what they come back with.
yes. And then I
You guys
think,
can still pursue your DP and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've left messages, but you're
yeah,
right, they're not.
DEP is probably not gonna,
responsive,
and maybe KP can enlighten Mr. Erickson on his opinion.
Is
Maybe
it-
they can get together and come to some
Is
sort
it
of
okay if they
resolution.
communicate with each other?
I would
Yes.
think
Yes.
that's needed to be happen. The idea of trying to get everybody at the table we won't see this thing till 2025, and I won't be a commissioner anymore, and the next guy's gonna have to worry about it. So.
And we'll
I-
be doing
you
the
know,
same thing as we're doing.
Yeah, I hate
Right,
kicking
I
the
don't
can
wanna
down
waste
the road.
anybody's time, the lawyer's money, et cetera. Let's, you know.
So, yeah, I don't know deadlines or anything, but I know the PFAS new regulations coming out in 2023.
Right, so we wanna be ahead of that, at least ready, because the most of the funding and all the stuff that we've learned in the past, if you're turnkey ready,
Right, then
you get the
then
funding.
you
Yes.
get more points on your app.
And we're way far from turnkey
Right.
ready at this point, so,
You're so concerned about the water down there, which I understand. Why aren't you concerned about the PFAS in it?
So we have actually talked to our consultant, and he is not, it is not, unless you're drinking the water, the
Don't you
amount
swim
of
in it?
exposure.
yes,
We have checked with our consultant.
yeah.
But you
What
swim
is
in
it,
it?
what is it, I'm curious,
Environmental
what
consultant
have
for
they,
ESF
cause I've really been looking into the PFAS a lot, and, you know, anybody that knows anything knows that things get absorbed through your skin.
Right.
And I know the big push is ingestion right now. But at what point on levels of PFAS are they concerned about, you know, people swimming in the water? Because the list of health concerns, I don't wanna go in the water.
Yeah, John, do you remember what he said? Did I copy
It's
you
like,
on
the
that?
number is like 200 times what it is
What
for
it is
ingestion.
in the wells.
Right, so
Yeah,
it's gonna be
so-
200 times worse,
Right.
Right.
you know, to be a
right.
problem.
So-
Because
I did-
you're
I did
drinking
ask him
it
that.
consistent, so
Oklahoma
like,
restricted
right.
swimming
like,
nearby. There was someone that restricted swimming.
Westminster?
Because of PFAS.
No, that's right, it
Was it Westminster?
Yeah.
So,
It's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's coming.
Yeah,
well, I don't know, I just something, you know, I understand, cause in my research, they are concerned about ingestion.
I had the same
So,
concerns,
a kid's
'cause I
drinking
studied
a couple
recently.
cups
Yeah,
of lake
drinking cups
water,
of
but
lake
then
water,
goes
yeah.
home and doesn't drink any PFAS, it's not as
So
bad.
I'm just thinking on the PFAS, if we did treat the PFAS there, or all the sites, and, you know, it is discharged through the septic systems on Hickory Hills, that potentially will eliminate much of the PFAS, because the PFAS came from the septic systems to get there, I think. I don't really know.
No,
Well,
that's a possibility.
it can also come from chemicals.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
I've done a
comes-
lot of research
yeah.
since we've been
Comes from-
meeting too, to find out what it does,
Right.
and I was concerned about the potential impacts to the water. Is there any way we can get a copy of the levels that are in the well, so that we can test the water?
I believe-
Compare what the
Yeah.
water and
I
what the
believe
water is in
we know what
comparison
they
to-
are.
Yeah.
Even if you can just tell me what they are.
You know. But the potential benefit down the line too is if you're taking a non-biodegradable material and you're pumping, let's say we're using that well and we're cleaning the PFAS out of the water, it's only gonna reduce the future levels of PFAS in the lake. Cause you're actually pumping, moving that water and removing the hazardous material.
Yeah, well, the only problem is we're not gonna affect the lake, so we're not gonna affect the PFAS.
Well, we don't know until they do the study.
Well,
The more PFAS you
We've
take
done,
out.
we've had
I
enough
mean,
studies,
that's
we've
just,
had
you know, but-
geologists, we've had.
Yeah, but we're going to a comprehensive study that ties all of this stuff together. And that's what I think we need and the information I feel we need to make a proper decision on what we can do to move forward. Can't do it if we
But
don't study it.
I will go back and look at what Carl Nielsen said. He's the environmental scientist from
Yeah.
ESS that we asked the question to, and I'll be happy to forward that to you.
Yeah, cause
as well.
there's a few, I know that, Fran mentioned one, and I know there were some lakes in Maine and so forth that they were concerned about, and the effects on the wildlife. You know, just interesting, I mean, they say, oh, this stuff's bad, you can't drink it, well, if it's all around us, there's other ways it's gonna affect
Right,
us.
You're sitting on
right.
it.
Yeah.
you probably, yeah, you're
Yeah.
wearing it.
Yeah, we're
Pretty good
wearing
chance
it,
you're wearing
yeah.
it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
great, well, timeline wise, just trying to make sure that we can get the whole definition on who owns, controls, or whatever, do we have the right to, even though they own it in their deed?
Correct. And
Do
hopefully
we
by
need to,
the,
do we need to, I don't know, I can't imagine why DEP would allow us to put that well online and not have to control that.
I believe what we will do for you is to come up with some sort of not, we said so, literature from
Authority.
some authoritative figure on it, and we can present that back
So the
to you.
letter that Fran gave us one of the times we were here said that there was a bylaw, that a restrictive easement and a bylaw that controlled the zone one. So, and again, that's our concern. He gave us a letter to that effect, so that it was interpreted that you had control. But in the second paragraph of the letter I sent you, it says that it's in 1979, Hickory Hills Lake, so-called, meaning and intending to convey that body of water and the lake bed thereunder, up to and including 1 foot above the high water mark of said lake, as determined when the surface of said lake is level with the top of the flashboards, 4 feet in height, erected on the dam now located at said lake near Townsend Harbor Road, together with any appurtenant riparian rights. So that gives us the riparian rights of the lake. And it's very clear. Thank you.
One's the lake and one's the water.
So,
Oh,
you
all right,
tested the-
awesome. Oh,
you tested the lake as well?
too?
Yeah.
Oh, right here. Oh, so this one's the well. All right, awesome, thank you. I'm gonna
It'd
forward
be
that to
interesting,
Carl.
yeah, it'd be interesting
forward
to
that to
check
Carl.
it again.
Yeah.
I would think.
Did you guys have it tested?
No, not yet.
No, we
Oh, I
sent
think
him
you said
this-
check it
yeah,
again.
we did, yeah.
You don't do
Well,
any, you don't do any toxic testing for the water?
we do several tests. We do, as required by conservation, there's a whole list of
But there was
parameters. I can't
no,
tell you
from what I
they're at right
understand
now.
from the Board of Health and stuff, there's no, these are all water quality, and when they
Right.
say
E. coli.
quality.
E.
testing.
When they say
coli,
quality, it
nitrates,
doesn't-
phosphorus.
And
right,
with
not
the
toxins,
history down
right.
there, I would think that at least once every 5 years or so, you wanna check for
Individuals,
quality.
individuals with wells have had them tested,
Yeah.
and it hasn't been a problem.
Well,
No
and-
residual from what happened back in the
Right, and
seventies.
DEP actually
Yeah.
discharged the site,
Yeah.
the high hazard site. But prior to that, they were testing the water, they were testing the wells, but they have cleared that area. But I gotta tell you, I wonder if that spill, because it was benzene, toluene, and xylene, if that has something to do with the PFAS levels. I
Yeah.
honestly question that.
Right,
That's
and were
possible.
they actually testing PFAS at the time?
Right.
They weren't, I bet they
I
weren't.
think that's pretty
Benzene
new, right?
Benzene is
Right.
a known contributor to PFAS.
Yep.
So I think there's a correlation there.
Probably good, something to look at,
Right.
so.
But you don't have it in your other wells, the Lancaster well or whatever?
There's
but just-
trace,
Trace amounts, so
Yeah.
all the farmland upstream from all that where, a lot of the water, the aquifers come from, as it comes down through there, it
it's all
doesn't affect
trace.
it.
Yeah, it's
And
all-
Yeah,
they
it's
don't,
not-
from what you said, everything tests and has a certain level. There's no base level and there's no 0 levels of PFAS.
The only one that has 0 is well number 4.
Yeah.
All the other wells have D-Tex. The state limit is 20 parts per trillion, and most of our wells are like 6 or 7 parts per trillion, so we're well below the maximum allowable.
Yeah,
The only one that wasn't was that the Hickory Hills turned out one testing.
yeah. Okay.
Great.
So we're worried about the new future.
Yeah, when they
Regulations.
tighten it up, go
Yeah.
tighter than the 20,
A
yeah,
lot tighter.
yeah.
Like
And as they tighten up, then if they tighten up to a point where treatment is required for other sites, we want to have this site already treated. Should we have to do something for treatment down the line on other sites, which those would be down for a period of time. So
There was a town recently that tested so high that they had to put in a new well. Do you remember where that was?
Yeah.
Because I was reading about it.
I was reading about it too.
And I don't remember what the town was.
Was it Westminster?
It started
It
with
might
a
have been
W.
I think it was.
Westminster's
I think it might
really
have
It
been
wasn't high,
Westminster.
it was like
It was
Yeah.
200,
extreme,
it was.
yeah.
And they were
it was-
going after,
Yeah,
I forget
Because they
company right there
did
in
like a
Westminster.
like
Yeah.
a
They're an
cease and desist on
environmental.
water use.
Yeah,
something, yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
and they, people
I do
couldn't
believe it was
drink it.
Westminster,
Yeah,
like,
I think it
don't-
was too. I
yeah.
was reading, because I've been researching
Wow.
PFAS too.
Yeah.
I think it's because of a golf course or I forget I don't.
I
wanna
think it
sp-
was, I wanna say it was one of the environmental places
Yeah.
there that,
I don't want to spread,
doing
but yes,
compost or
there was
something.
somewhere
Yeah.
recently
Yeah.
that it was real
Well, you
bad.
gotta imagine, I mean, in the Fitchburg dump or whatever, all the stuff that's dumped in there, right?
It's right. It's
Yeah,
all,
or even the Lunenburg dump, that
Right.
was.
It's
you know,
all
next
coming
to
back
our-
around.
That
you
was
know,
next to the lake.
That was next to the lake.
right.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. All right,
well,
well, we will get you that list.
Yep. And we'll
Um,
plan on reconvening on the 24th.
If we could, and then, you know, just.
I'll
try
get
to
you
avoid-
Scott Erickson's contact information.
Yeah,
I'll give
if
him
we
a
could
heads
do-
up that
Okay.
your attorney might be calling him.
okay.
Yep.
And we'll plan on being on the agenda on the 24th as well, or at least be able to be.
Absolutely.
To be able to listen.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna necessarily
I'll email you
You'll let-
as
yeah,
we
make
know
an
what
agenda item,
agendas
but
are
we'll,
gonna
we'll
be.
It's gonna be.
Yeah.
discuss that
Yeah.
and figure it out,
Yeah.
but that's kind of
Yeah.
the timeline we're hoping for, so.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, thank
All right,
you.
thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Okay,
What do we got, anything else?
we did the tank inspection, we gotta look at the personnel policy and benefits again, cause that's still on the thing.
It's just a vote, so we basically, I made up the final
Oh.
copy,
I had,
which is in front of you, if you
Right,
wanna
yep.
see it. Final
got it.
copy, only things I changed, which we talked about last time,
Yep.
was to add that Juneteenth.
Correct.
And then the health insurance.
Yep.
So I figured out you guys had threw out the number around 5,000.
well, yeah,
So
is that on this?
So I didn't do a number, I did a percentage, because that's
Correct.
what you guys talked about, doing a percentage.
That's what we talked about last
Because
time.
because obviously every year insurance changes, so I did a percentage. So what I did was, it costs, $28,000 per year for family
Mm-hmm.
plan. The district pays 25% of that.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys had suggested around what?
90%.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
90%, sorry. District pays 90% of it, which is around 25,000. You guys suggested around 5,000 a year,
Yep.
so that equaled 20%
Correct.
would equal $5,046
Yep.
buyback. So I plugged those numbers in and just said,
20% over the
employee will
course,
be
yeah.
reimbursed 20% of what the district's yearly cost would have been for the employee's full-time health, actually I should add full and part-time,
Yes, you should.
Okay.
oh no,
Were we-
full-time health coverage, yes.
Were we
but-
still discussing this or moving forward with
We're
this?
discussing.
I
that.
thought we were still discussing this, so we can't vote on this because this is still something that I think we still are looking at.
Yeah.
Look,
Okay,
one
well,
of
this
my-
was the other thing you guys asked to make
I'm
up.
still, I'm still open and still looking into it, but
Okay.
I don't think it should be a change right away. And then the only other thing that, in looking at all these changes, we did make some changes to, employee descriptions. And I think anything that is made that affects anybody currently under these guidelines, they should be grandfathered into the way the benefits used to be. They shouldn't conform to anything new.
Okay, let me tell you what I think about this whole thing. We've been hashing around for a couple of months now. If you're married or if you live with your mother and father, whatever you do, and you already have insurance and you're covered by somebody else's policy, I don't see why you should have another policy, get paid for a policy that you didn't have or that you don't have. It's like going out, like I told you earlier, giving the Ford Motor Company 50 grand for a new truck that you don't need because you already got two sitting over here. You know what I'm saying?
I can answer that for you. So Christie's a great example. We're currently paying her health insurance.
No,
No,
No, you're not paying, not at all.
no,
not at all.
Okay,
So this is strictly a
But her husband is.
newly
but
added
her
benefit.
husband is. But Christie could be like, I want my own insurance.
But she don't want her own insurance.
Okay, but she could, just like
Okay, yeah,
somebody,
I
so
agree.
somebody that comes in here, you know, for example, let's say we have a new hire. And they are married and the spouse carries the health insurance.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're coming to work here. And they decided between here and someone else and be like, oh, you know, this is a great employee and we want him. Hey, I could get an extra $5,000 because they're gonna bonus that in as far as me not using their health coverage. Or they simply say, I need health coverage. Now it's costing us $28,000
Do
a
you
year.
do that for your employees?
How many employees?
What if you did have some,
For that reason.
what if you did have some employees?
If I had a choice, if I had employees, I would absolutely impact that. Do I have to pay $28,000 or $5,000 a year? I'll give you $5,000 a year.
Well, I know that's
a
a tough choice, and I mean, I know it's a tough choice
No,
for
but you
her
know
and
what I'm saying?
everybody
Right.
else. But, you know, the water district is not an open ATM machine.
I understand that, but I guess this is a policy that we can put into effect, and it will.
You guys know how I feel about it. You
right.
two
I'm
take
hoping
care of
that
it.
it saves us money, not costs us money.
I understand where John is coming from, the
Absolutely.
point of we're a small department.
Right.
And we
The
got a
other
lot
thing
of
is,
big bills
this
coming
is
along.
practiced throughout the state.
Correct.
But what I've been looking at is not common practice.
Okay.
So I'm not on John's end of this
Yeah.
thing, where from what I gather, his opinion is this is something that.
So you're gonna make me the bad guy?
No. No, I am still on the fence on whether this is something that we.
Okay.
I guess this comes down from me
should do.
because I've got guys working for me, and I mean, I couldn't, nowhere's near in hell afford to give them half of that. Never mind, you know, whatever. I'm looking at it maybe my
But
perspective.
municipal structure is completely different from private sector.
Let's say Rick said, hey man, I got my own, I'm good, I'm all set. And now you don't have to pay that, but you know, you're gonna give him 20% of it.
First of all, he's not gonna say, hey, I'm all set.
Exactly.
He's gonna take the money.
I guess, I understand everybody's point from this, I
Right.
really do. To me, I'm
Well, I do
looking
too.
for efficiency here. And if we can save money with this policy, I think it's a great idea. Do we really need to maybe iron out, look at every little situation that comes in and put the numbers to it? I'm not opposed.
If you can convince me that this is gonna save the water district money, I'm gonna be for it.
I am hoping it does.
All right.
And I know that you're driving, I am too, I don't.
There's a lot of stuff here, John, and this is why I'm back
Sure.
and forth. You look at this, I look at these amount of holidays, if my guys saw these holidays, they're lucky to get 2 a year, never mind 10,
12.
12.
That's
I definitely got a problem with the holidays, but I don't know how,
I called the town, you guys said last meeting, call
Yeah.
the town and see what they did, and that's
And again,
That's
so
all I
the
did on
town
those,
does,
so you
the town
guys
does
cut-
that for holidays.
I'm just saying, you
But-
guys cut and do what you want.
But then help me out here, the town
talked
has
about.
what, 50 employees?
Yeah.
Do they have this buyback insurance plan, or this, they don't. So it's, you know, and I'm not saying we want to mirror what the town of Lunenburg does for,
no, but we want to be fair and competitive, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know.
So do I. I don't want you to think.
so I think we're already more than fair and competitive.
I do too. You're right, I mean, that's 12 days, that's like 3 weeks of holiday leave right there.
Plus 3 weeks of vacation.
I don't take these holidays off either, I get it.
So, I'm still into further,
No problem.
I'm not ready to decide to definitely pass this.
I am
Yeah.
willing to discuss.
And what brought that on was the thought of, all right, we're making some changes that could potentially, and do any of these changes when you classify an employee, change current benefits to any current employees? That's kind of the question that I
Okay.
had.
All right, while we're talking about
Because
this.
I do not want to change
No.
anything that anybody is eligible for now
to-
because we've changed a description.
You
No,
can't
'cause-
take it away from me.
No, because we had talked about that. The biggest one was the vacation.
Oh, well, yeah, this is the
That was the
part-time.
biggest, yes. So I left it as is because when I was part-time, the board didn't want to pay vacation time for me.
John
But-
was on it then.
But then when Lisa was hired, it was vacation time for her. So there was discrepancy. So that's why we talked about it.
Right.
And then that's when it was stated, we're just leaving it as employees, all employees, because that just seemed to be, at least as far as the discussions that I took for what we have had, that we all agreed, any employees that were here, part-time employees or full-time.
So
So there's no change.
So part-time or full-time, there was no definition before. So
So I left it with nothing because I thought you guys.
but does that affect, so as an example, disability insurance? Is that something that a employee, full or part-time in the past, would be eligible for?
Only full-time.
How did we decipher that?
It said full-time employee.
Okay, but we never had a definition of did we have a definition?
Yes, we've always had a definition of life
okay.
insurance on
All
there.
benefits only
It's-
went to full-time.
Yes.
Vacation was the only thing that went to.
Yes, everything else, so vacation, personal, sick, just said all employees. Life insurance, health insurance, dental, all said full-time. And then retirement's just stated, because that's just Worcester Regional, you have to make at least 20,000 per year. But that's it. So, really nothing, word-wise, nothing has changed. I kept it, we talked about it, I did a draft that said full-time employees for vacation, but we all talked about it, so
Right.
everything as far as wordage for vacation, personal sick, life insurance, disability, health insurance has all stayed the same.
Right.
As far as full or.
Right, and as we had talked about prior, like with the part-time employees,
Yep,
that if they earn 1 week, that is not 5 days, that is
Yes, it's
1
their
week of
vacation.
their normal
Yeah.
work week of 20 hours, and you
Yep.
have that off, you don't get a
Yep.
full, right.
yep.
Look at Mark, I'm all about,
So really, the only really big changes was adding that Juneteenth. And
Right.
then the health insurance, those were the only two big ones.
And we've always, so when you go down through, so everything has always been the same. Nothing has really changed.
Nope, retirement stayed the same. Disability always said full-time. Life insurance always said full-time. And then vacation, personal, and sick, it all stayed the same. All employees shall be granted 10 sick days, 2 personal days, and then it's broken out for the vacation.
Can I?
I mean, the only other thing we added to was at the beginning, definitions, employee reviews.
right.
Yeah, that was it.
So you get 12 holidays and you get 2 personal days? Man, you guys hiring?
And don't forget that, after that, they have 10 sick days too.
See, I look at the situation as being a guy that's run his own business for 55
Yeah, it's
years.
it's tough to
And
look
I
at
have
it
to
that
watch,
way.
I have to watch all my money or I'll be gone in no time. I mean, the expenses now are crazy. It's just, you do what you can do and you take care of everybody the best you can, but you can't go crazy.
Then 10 sick days, huh? Oh,
That's what I was gonna say, then 10 sick days.
Yeah, that's
all good.
10 sick
10
days.
sick days, so that's
Sorry, 10, yeah.
24. That's almost 5 weeks that you could take off a year and get paid for.
Assuming you're sick, because you
Well,
can't take a sick day.
How does a sick? I've never had a sick day, so I'm kind of curious how
And I've
this
had damn
works.
few
Like,
holidays.
I mean, like I've had some great hangovers. Do I just call up and be like, man, not really feeling it today, Fran? I'm not coming in. And like, what's the policy on that? How does it work?
Yeah, I mean, it used to, we never even had numbers on it. It was just, as
Right.
needed, because everybody was pretty fair. No one really took
Yeah, you just be
vacation.
trusting,
you have
that's
a-
all, you know?
Did we have an old, I know we've had an old copy, I got
We
one
have,
somewhere in my house that I can, okay. I still wanna, I hate to be the holder, but I'd like to still, we really need to, we look at this thing, and I don't know about you, but I look at this thing when I'm here. I'm here for an
And every
hour,
time,
an hour,
can you guys
an
email
hour,
it to me?
an
Can
hour
you
over
email it to
2
me?
weeks. I definitely need to like,
Okay, I look at it.
I'll put it down on the continuing.
let's
So let's
continue it to
continue
the next one, cause I would definitely like to, and I'm gonna make every effort to go through this and.
So, could we do one maybe where the health part's left off, and then you approve that? And then say for consideration for future consideration?
Where the health's already in here, I mean, why don't we,
Let's make a decision on it. Let's
Yes.
just make a decision on it, one way or another. You know, let's look at it. Let's revisit it. How about this?
So-
For the 24th, let's
Yes.
let's have a
Are
decision.
you
Well,
sure
not
you
the-
wanna
no,
add
not the
more
24th.
to
All right,
it?
yeah, you
let's
know
go,
what?
let's
That's
go
gonna be
one,
kinda busy.
we don't have a ton on the meeting before that, so why
Okay.
don't we say August 10th,
Well, that's in like 2 weeks, isn't it?
we're gonna, yep, 2
So
weeks.
am
So
I-
that means I'm gonna,
So am if I'm doing an
Alright, we'll
agenda, I have
continue
to
it on
post it as
August
vote.
10th.
You're gonna vote on this, so am I putting this review and vote?
I'll tell you what. Let's just. We can't do that. We can't talk about.
no,
You can
I'll put
review
it-
and vote. Doesn't
Review and
mean you have
vote,
to
and you don't have to.
Well, let's
Okay.
do a review in the next meeting, and if you still need a
If we have changes that we would like to make or look at,
Yep.
any one of us, present them at the next
Sure.
meeting, and then we can vote, we can either vote at that meeting or vote at the following meeting.
Okay.
But let's say we're gonna put this thing to bed by August 24th,
Just
so we can move on.
Just curious between you or Fran, average sick days that people take.
Almost none.
I mean, is it?
They're all
I
working from
probably
home
said-
now. They're sick every day.
In my 37 years here, I probably had 5, 6.
I'm not talking about you.
No.
I'm talking about your
It's-
employees.
It's probably,
When I left, I turned in, I lost 60 days.
How
You
many?
didn't
was in
lose.
10.
You gained 60 days. You weren't sick.
No, I wasn't paid for it.
No,
Ah.
you don't get that.
but
You-
sick time,
get that.
oh, it
How
doesn't.
many days?
Yeah.
And it doesn't accumulate, or does it?
May-
It accumulates on if you get hurt or injured or something.
Oh, okay, I see what
Right,
you're
yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't, it's not accumulated for pay.
I guess I'm just curious. What is the average employee? I'm not talking about, not you, but like I don't know.
Alright, we'll
think-
say Christie, she probably takes, 3 or 4 a year?
And I would
Yeah.
say, if I do, I might take maybe one for myself, and then it would be
Cause of
if my kids.
family member.
Yeah, which I really, it's more so my kids.
Sure, no, I'm not.
Home.
I'm not picking on anybody.
No,
I'm just
I'm
curious.
just, yeah. So,
I'm with John.
So really,
There's
honestly,
no sick
it's not,
days, like,
it's
you
not
just-
much.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. Like Greg doesn't take much,
Yeah.
I think.
I think Greg's thinking maybe once.
Yeah,
Right.
and honestly, it's been the trade-off of my kid's got a fever, I'll take a day, Scott takes a day, same with
Sure,
Terry.
right.
Terry takes a day, his wife takes a day. So we all,
Yeah, you
Yeah.
might think it's a sick day, but you're down for vacation.
that's why I have no days left
Yeah,
now.
yes.
Hey, my father worked at Union Coal the day he was 12 years old until he died. Never took a sick day ever.
Yeah.
So how do you
Walk
like
to work
that?
back off the hill both
Then
days.
then he retired and he had a heart attack and died.
So you should have taken some sick days.
So-
Maybe you should have went to the doctor
That's
about
right.
one of those
He
days.
didn't have time.
All right,
All right.
we'll revisit that.
Okay.
What else we got?
Well, now we have to review old business.
Which
We just did.
just,
The only thing, on Mass Ave, the water main down near Townsend Harbor Road, have a meeting on Monday with Stantec to go over a proposed plan for it.
Yeah.
And he said, at this time, it looks like the availability of piping materials is looking better.
Oh, good.
So he thinks things are starting to look up.
I think everything's gonna come around, it's just
And I-
taking time.
I asked him because of the money that we presented at the last meeting, not the last meeting,
Yep.
the meeting before. I would imagine the number's gone higher, so he's gonna look, not right now for Monday, but in the future, once we get the plan laid out, come up with a new estimated budget number.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
So if we knew that number, if we do call a special meeting, maybe we can.
Absolutely.
Add that.
Just put that in there too. Did we have a number on that before?
800,000.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hey,
you got-
I wish I was sitting on a bunch of ductile iron, believe me. I have an option.
I'd rather be sitting on a bunch of cash.
It's the same, it's even better.
Do we have any other additions? Commissioner Superintendent additions?
I'm good,
No, you have some,
I do.
yeah.
What else we have?
Remember we talked a little bit about the other day, about possibly sending out, like a.
Oh, publication,
Yes.
publicize this, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys okay for me and Christie to, active on the, social media side of things?
I believe
Present them.
that the public outreach on the whole thing
Yeah.
and communication and information is huge, and I think we should press on all fronts
I do too.
Okay.
I
I
think we
do
should.
also.
You're okay with it?
to have people
Whatever we come up
informed.
Yeah,
with.
we need to, as we just slightly discussed the other day about, maybe getting some of even the results that we get from these wells. We need to put this out so the rest of the town understands what's going on, as we've discussed earlier today, that if this does hit the fan, like, this could be big, and we need the whole town to be aware of it, and that we're actively pursuing every avenue we can.
Because, yeah, there's a lot of things.
There's a
that-
lot-
of the things that happen that everybody's like, well, I didn't know about that.
Exactly, so if we'll send out, I believe, like a mailer, and we
Yeah.
should definitely take out, I think, add in
An
the
ad in the
ledger,
paper or
be
something.
like, hey, guys, this is what's going on. If they choose not to read it, that's fine, but we
Yeah.
definitely, I think there's a lot of people that just they don't know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I probably would be one of them. Oh, but wait, hold on, I have a $500 bill.
Yeah.
Whoa, what happened? Everyone's concerned then, you know, and I can't use my water, you know.
Yep.
So I mean, let's get the
The
information out
types of
there.
the types of things that we're facing and what we're trying to deal with, and everybody looks at us when it happens like, you did this. I'm
Yes.
like, whoa, wait a minute.
I like to go back to Exhibit A. Sit down on August 31st, and you guys all, you know. So I think it's just So
Yes.
Yep.
press with that. Just
Yeah.
some guidance.
If you don't have anything, John.
I got plenty.
Mr. Woodward, you don't have anything.
Do we have public comment?
Mr. Fran doesn't have
Yeah, we
anything.
have,
I have one question.
What do you got?
The grants that I've been talking to you guys about,
Yes.
Maya offers one that it's up to $10,000 for cybersecurity. So I spoke with ClearTech, who we currently use. They don't do our cybersecurity. They just monitor and update like our server.
Yeah, right.
So I had a meeting with him Monday, and I have a meeting with a different cyber group tomorrow to kind of get proposals. So I actually had the woman from Maya who does the grant programs come here, and I talked to her. So she gave me the whole breakdown. So she said, you can apply for multiple things for cyber, all of them up to 10. So I mean, you can get multiple grants.
Yeah.
So I called out to a couple places, but ClearTech, the first group that I met with, said what they would start with is a full diagnostic testing. They would basically go into all of our computers, our server, everything. You know, the dark web, I don't know, all that kind of stuff. He says it's a full look at everything. It costs $500 to do it. From there, they come up with a full report that says, you need this is all good security, this is...
And that goes into the grant application, I'm assuming?
I'll have to check to see if it can be retroactive, if I say, you know, we had to do this, or it's kind of tough because I don't know if that would be an expense that we'd have to do in order to get the quote to say, this is what you need, and then I provide that to Maya to say,
Right.
this is what we want.
Is there in this application for these grants? I mean, do you need that, or can you be like, hey, we have this
Part of this
data.
grant, we're gonna do the
Right.
diagnostic.
We're gonna do the diagnostic, and we
Yeah.
and we have
Yeah.
concerns like the SCADA system, like you talked about. Like, I mean, if someone ever hacked into that
Yeah.
and started shutting things off, that would be a problem. So
Well, I'm going to be really interested to see what the other guys say tomorrow that's coming.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of curious because I don't know. I don't really know a lot about the cyber stuff, but I was picturing like, you know, for municipality who you know, kind of does this for your work.
Correct.
We think you should have X, Y, and Z, and this is what we would, you know, like more of a cost.
more
Whereas
of a-
he's like a proposal to say, you know,
you look at like
this.
for guidelines, like, hey, this is what you need to look to protect.
I'm
Or
assuming
what do
that's
we need to-
probably what they wanna
Okay.
do, and I think, you know, cyber is a real and present threat. and
luckily it's not been an issue, but boy, if
No,
it
but
is,
she
it
told
is.
me, the representative from Maya told me that it's not mandated now, but she thinks it could be within the next year, certain requirements in order to even have insurance, like multi-factor
Oh, okay.
authentication.
Yep.
They're going to require you to have certain things in place, or they won't cover you with insurance.
Understood.
So, I mean, I guess I don't know enough about it, and I was trying to be educated by ClearTech and hopefully
Yeah.
this other group that comes tomorrow.
I'm curious. I mean, I don't want to spend $500.
No, and I'm not saying, let's do it, I'm looking at two other ones. I just wanted you
Okay.
guys to know where we're at. We're gonna meet with the other ones tomorrow, see what they have to offer, and I can always,
Yep.
you know, next
Okay.
meeting say, hey, this is what they're
Okay.
talking about, but,
Can you throw that under the old business carryover discussion?
yeah, the cyber
Yeah, 'cause
security
I think
stuff.
that's something we need to keep.
I'd like to
Yeah.
stay ahead of the curve on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, especially if there's this grant money available now to take it, update us, because eventually if we don't, and they sit there and say, well, you can't have insurance because you don't have this in
Right.
place.
Or your insurance rate went to this because you don't have.
And the
this.
more we do, she showed me all kinds of stuff, the more we do, and then look into, I don't want to say silly, but easy training for these guys that could literally sit there and look for a half hour, that's gonna lower
Yeah.
our insurance. It's gonna give us points to lower this insurance. So if we keep going through these training, you know, small trainings, these
I think those
grants,
are all
all
great,
of
and I know
it,
that 99% of the guys, the employees, are gonna sit there and like, this is dumb, but I'm telling you.
half of it, they have to read a
some
page
Some of it gets
and
retained,
sign.
some of it. There's a portion.
But it helps
small,
our insurance,
But it
so-
does, it may help some.
Yeah.
Along the lines with grants, was there a PFAS education grant?
The technical assistance
working on
grant,
it.
yes. So it's so new that when we met with Lou and Tom, with Ty and Bond, they weren't very familiar with it either. So they were gonna reach out to a couple of their guys in their office to see if they could get some more information on it. Because my understanding when I watched that Zoom was it's gonna be a lot more entailed, that we would need Ty and Bond help to put a proposal together for this grant.
That needs a kind of a push, because I think that goes hand in hand with what we're trying to do with the
I
study
think
for
so
the
too,
well.
because I think that would help with the public
We're
education
gonna spend it
and stuff,
anyway, but
so
if we can get something.
I'll follow up with, yeah, because we had talked to them when we went out to Hickory Hills, and I'll follow up with them, see if they,
All right, just-
if any of their other guys.
They're all on vacation for like the next 2 weeks, so.
Okay.
Well, I might be able to find out, we had a couple of them, I can call some of them and see who they think, because he said, we don't know it, but we have different divisions of it, and a couple other guys who handle that maybe may know better.
Just the one more quick thing, the server's in for the new SCADA, so it's here, so I sent a message out to those guys that are ready to go, so they got the panel and the PLC and stuff. He was just waiting for the server to come in and put the software.
And that's just
in,
the
so.
server, all the equipment and stuff we have at the well sites and everything is still.
Yeah, all that's gonna stay, so we're gonna leave the old stuff at the old garage as a backup system, so we're gonna stick a PLC at the back of the garage, tied to the tower,
Yep,
and, should be good to go.
cool. All right, do we have anything else?
Nope.
What we've all been waiting for, we have public. Do we have any public comment?
No?
Nope, I was just
I'll
waiting.
be as brief as I possibly can.
Oh,
Honest to God, I'm gonna
No,
give you bullets. $500 is the best $500 you ever spent in your life.
agreed.
Second thing, you desperately need a benefits consultant to come in and to look at all of this stuff and make specific recommendations, and financial recommendations. I mean, this stuff is astronomical. Question, if we do away with insurance, will everybody be entitled to mass health as an alternative?
Oh.
Well, I don't think we're talking
then that
about
puts
doing
the-
away with insurance.
Yeah, but that puts the
So-
cost on the employee,
Right, so
doesn't it?
I
And
guess-
Mass Health isn't,
Okay,
sorry.
that's the first question, okay?
So just to briefly answer that for you, Dave.
Yeah.
If someone chooses to opt out of the insurance, they need to provide us with documentation that they have insurance.
Yes.
You can't just opt out. You
Right.
need to
And not have
provide
health
us, and we
insurance.
have a form to do that.
And I
So-
might not be saying it right, but if mass health is available to them, there are things that the water district can do in terms of a contribution for insurance. But this is a specialized thing.
Okay.
I don't know,
And-
but
and a
don't you have to
consultant,
require it over
you
so
know.
many?
Yeah, we don't qualify for, I think it's 7 employees or more, or 11 employees or more, you have to offer the benefits. I thought there is a limit.
Okay,
There is an employee limit on the private sector.
okay.
I don't know what
What
the
Yeah,
public
municipalities-
sector.
that's a very good point. We'll
Yeah.
consider
So,
that,
I
yeah.
mean, it's just, stuff to look at. This, all you have to do is flip the numbers out. I mean, this is an astronomical, thing over your head, okay? When I hear stuff, $28,000, I mean, it's, so you gotta be prepared. The best thing to do is you can't do it yourself. You get a consultant that can say yes, yes, no, no, vote, vote, vote. So I suggest that you look at that, okay? I'm gonna ask you the stupidest question that you've ever heard from me. The water that goes into Hickory Hills, where does it come from?
From the well sites that we currently have in town.
That feeds
Are you
the,
talking about the
that
lake
feeds the
water?
lake.
The
You're
lake
talking about
water.
what feeds the residents' water?
Comes up? The water
I don't
that
think
goes
there's
into Hickory Hills, where does it come from?
You talking that goes into the lake or the water
Yeah.
they drink?
Yeah, oh no, I know where they
okay.
drink it, yeah. It goes into the lake.
So there are spring-fed lakes and there are river-fed lakes.
Yeah.
I believe Hickory Hills, where it was a man-made lake,
Yeah.
didn't have any natural springs
Yeah.
and was fed by Multus Brook.
Okay?
Am I wrong, Mr. Bingham?
No, I think that's right.
Okay, so looking at this thing in my stupidity, if you look at Hickory Hills, doesn't water flow come down from, you know, the environs on the left-hand side and feed the lake?
I believe so. You mean, you're saying, so like from talking geographically, probably from like, Chase Road area,
Yeah, Yeah.
towards Hickory Hills,
Yeah.
towards Shirley.
yeah,
Cause that's my kind of interpretation, is
yeah.
it
That's exactly what I'm talking
comes in about Island Road
about.
and exits at the dam.
It starts on Holman Street, so the recharge, so the Mumpus Brook Basin is,
Yeah.
that whole area, it's
Like,
many square miles.
it's ginormous. I mean,
Yeah,
the
it's big.
water, the feed for the lake comes from such a broad area, cause I believe there's been a lot of pushback almost into Townsend and Ashby about what happens up there, because those things affect the inflow.
Jeff, isn't there an inlet over on Island Road that goes in by the beach?
Yes.
Not Island, yeah, Island Road?
Yeah, there's one that.
There is,
The
yeah.
old boat launch, and then
Yeah.
the other inlet
Yeah,
is,
there's a small-
is at the end of Island Road, which is the primary, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, the reason I asked the stupid question is, I kind of thought that that was the way it was. So, who owns the water? I mean, it's coming from somebody, someplace else, and it goes out.
Yeah.
So there's.
Yeah, I don't think they're talking about the water as much as their main point was the land under the water.
No, they're talking
they're
about
talking
the
the
water.
Yeah.
Believe me,
Water.
they
So they
don't
own it
own the
temporarily.
water.
They own it before, when it gets to them, and then they only own it while it's there, cause it's leaving.
Right.
It's either gonna go under or.
My interpretation is nobody owns the water.
Right.
That, from all my guesses, is that I can believe that they own the land under the
I'll give you
the
that.
lake. But underneath that,
I agree with that. They own the land.
underneath that is the aquifers that feed the well, and nobody controls that. It is all regulated by the state.
Okay.
That's my
You understand
interpretation.
where I'm going here?
Yeah.
Because there's some key questions here, okay? First of all, who owns the water, okay? And somebody's gonna document this thing, and, you know, we hear all kinds of stuff.
Right.
The other thing is that, well, I can't say it, but, there are lawyers and there are lawyers. And-
Yeah.
And you really gotta know what you're talking about in terms of water. I mean, the guy that's telling me about water, is he the same guy that's helping me off?
Divorce attorney or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I understand what you're saying.
You know, so specificity and knowledge is critical. Okay? I thought I heard that your law firm had not received all of the stuff, or parts of stuff that were,
Well, I think they have an understanding, but they might not have
No,
everything
that you
as
received.
it went to DEP.
no, that you
because
received from Hickory Hills.
I don't think
We
they.
received it, I'm not sure how much of it we forwarded to the attorney.
Okay, you've got to get them involved from step number one. Absolutely, okay? I'm just gonna rattle here, okay? You went out to bid for 3 companies, right, for the tanks,
Yeah.
okay? You gotta announce it and say, we went such and such, such and such, such and such, and the quotes were boom, 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 okay? You have to announce that. I think you should announce it, okay? Makes sense, right? So people know. Did you hear what he said about, selling water and that kind of stuff? Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but, get ready. Have you got copious notes on how much water we sell for pools?
We keep track of all them.
Yeah.
Nah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine, 'cause you gotta have this, somebody asks, right? The other thing is, he said something about selling water. Yes.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
No, to other entities,
Oh, other
Okay.
towns like?
whatever, other entities. Why is that important? Because that was how we were gonna raise extra money to pay for the things that needed to be paid for.
Yeah.
Remember? So what I'm telling,
Well, you bring that point up, which I agree with, and it's the same point that Matt had regarding the, if we sell less water, we don't have the income to keep people's water rates where they are. And when they get a $500 water bill as a minimum down the road, these are things that are very important.
my considered opinion, unfounded, and I can't tell you why, because I haven't got the specificity of the numbers. We have got to, as a district, make sure that we are doing everything we possibly can to maximize our position so that the financial viability of this entity will be maintained. Okay? And what do I mean by that? Specifically, we're talking about doing something on Mass Ave and stuff. You gotta watch where you're going here, and if it's not, if you can't get some help and what have you, you gotta look at this stuff, because it'll come back to bite you, you know where, okay? It's really something. The other thing is, have you gone up on your rates?
No.
We did 2020, pretty recent, but we
Stop.
definitely need to go again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike?
No, we
Stop.
definitely.
Yeah, stop. You have got to go, and I don't wanna, I'm not the be-all and end-all, because I'm not. But I said to somebody, whoever, you gotta look at your rate structure, because it's gonna kill you. Electricity and all of that stuff. So immediately, you gotta protect your income, okay? And whatever you have to do, and I'm the last person who wants to spend money unnecessarily, but if you wanna be a viable entity, you better get ready so that you can cover your costs and all of this stuff, that's all, okay? We are in some awful, awful trajectories in time. I mean, the proverbial's gonna hit the fan. And somebody said that it doesn't make any difference, but I caught up on a little bit of it. No, we're not gonna have a big, whatever the engineers tell you that you need to have is what you're gonna have, unfortunately.
Well, to that point, I guess what we're saying is that we don't want a big looking like a Leominster cooling tower out there. The engineers are going to tell us that we are going to need filter X amount of product, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
In which case, we can take that information and be like, okay, what are the different, and there are multiple different solutions.
Right.
This engineer is not gonna come back and say, you need to put this horizontal 30-foot, they're gonna be like cubic feet, you need to do this.
Yep.
And we have sat with other vendors, people here, and there's a bunch of different solutions, they're all actually very interesting.
Yeah.
What we need to do is get the study,
Yep.
see what we need to filter, and then look at the options of how to do it, and that's what the study's for.
See,
So,
they're trying to stop us before we even get started.
and look, and what we will do is we will do our best to address this zone one in the correct legal way, and then we will push forward. And we, hopefully, at the end of it, all parties come out satisfied of it. That's all we can do, but we all understand that we have a fiduciary responsibility here to the water district, and I think that's what we're all doing.
My point is, you guys are very good at what you do, but you're not engineers. And if the engineers, and the consensus is you're gonna do
Sure.
this, that's what you're gonna do.
That's what we're gonna do.
Correct.
Yeah,
As far as
okay.
I'm concerned.
The other thing is this. In terms of moving forward, you have to communicate, and you have to, do something like you were talking about with the, outreach so that people know what's going on. So that's a very important thing to do, and, somebody's gonna help with that. This scares the hell out of me, all of this stuff, okay? And I'm a pretty upbeat guy, but I see what's going on, stuff we can't control, and so we really, really, really have to be ready. And I'm sure that there's more, but I won't bore you with details, but that's my candid thought with this stuff. And whoever said it, at the end of the day, they don't want anything up there, so it's from there. Good, yeah. I know what it was. The legislative bunch of people that we have, the reps and the senators and stuff, Have you contacted them? If you haven't, you need to. You gotta find out what's coming down the line. They have to understand what's going on with regard to all of this, you know, the manganese, the iron, the whatever.
They have to understand it, but they don't control it.
No, they don't. But they do control
Oh, the
money,
yeah.
okay? And it's got to go to the next level. It's got to go to the representative that represents this area, Trahan, and as I said, she is the person, and somebody came out and talked with you, you gotta be on them like a cheap suit, I'm gonna tell you. They have got to understand. Invite her out here, get some press, have the ledger here, so the people that read the ledger understand that you're not sitting here doing nothing, that you've contacted these people and this you know, group came out and you're working at it, okay? Sorry to keep you so long.
Well, I have to agree with you on that, Dave.
What?
I said I have to agree with you on that.
It's worth what you pay for it, nothing. It's worth what you pay for it, nothing. It's just a big. All right?
All right, anything else? Any other public comment? No?
What are you, just sitting in the corner listening?
All right, I guess I would accept the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. All right.